Love is not weakness, but losing yourself in it is. That's the Stoic distinction. Love should elevate you, sharpen you, center you, not erase you. But most people confuse love with fusion. They dissolve their identity to keep someone close. They silence their truth to avoid conflict. They become a mirror instead of a man. The Stoics taught that virtue must always come before passion, that to love well, you must first know who you are, because without identity, your love becomes need, your connection becomes captivity, and eventually, your desire to be chosen becomes your permission to be controlled. Seneca said, "If you wish to be loved, love yourself first." That doesn't mean self-love slogans and empty confidence. It means living with principles that anchor you. It means building a life that no relationship can override, so that if love ends, you remain. The Stoic doesn't avoid love. He just doesn't abandon himself for it. He enters love with clarity, not desperation. He speaks honestly, even if it shakes things. He gives freely, but never at the cost of his self-respect. Because real love doesn't demand your silence, it demands your strength. The Stoic understands that love is a fire, and like any fire, it must be contained. Without structure, it burns everything, including you. He's not afraid to feel deeply. He's afraid to vanish in someone else's storm. That's the difference between passion and possession. He draws lines, not walls. He says, "This is what I need. This is what I won't tolerate." Not because he's rigid, but because he respects himself. Emotional boundaries aren't cold, they're courageous. They stop you from becoming a version of yourself that only exists to be liked. In relationships, pressure always comes. The pressure to compromise your values, the pressure to move faster than your clarity, the pressure to accept almost enough as love. But the Stoic doesn't bend to pressure, he listens to it. If it asks him to betray himself, he steps back. Love isn't real if it can't coexist with truth. If you have to shrink to be held, that isn't love, it's emotional confinement. If your voice disappears so the relationship survives, then it's not a partnership, it's a trap. The Stoic holds space for both, love and individuality, connection and integrity, because any relationship that costs your identity will eventually cost your peace. If you've ever bent so far in love that you barely recognized yourself, you're not weak. You're just done with empty connection. You're ready for love that doesn't ask you to disappear, but demands that you show up fully. That's what this channel is about. Not fake perfection, not romance slogans. Reality, Stoic reality. The kind that teaches you how to love with power, not performance. If you're tired of losing yourself in relationships, if you're done chasing people who confuse love with possession, subscribe. Here, we don't teach emotional tricks. We teach emotional strength. You'll learn how to build boundaries that protect, not push away. How to speak without fear. How to love fully, without giving your soul away. You'll get tools to help you stay grounded in chaos, to stop begging for clarity, to stop negotiating your worth. Love should be a choice, not a rescue mission. It should grow you, not dissolve you. And that starts with becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to be chosen to feel valuable. Subscribe. Not for love advice, but for self-command. Because the stronger your foundation, the better your connection. The Stoic man in love doesn't flinch when boundaries are tested. He reinforces them. He doesn't ghost or explode. He speaks calmly, clearly, and firmly. If something disrespects his peace, he doesn't wait and see. He acts. Because he knows that tolerating chaos today only guarantees pain tomorrow. In a disagreement, he doesn't fight to win. He fights for understanding. He listens without folding. He disagrees without losing respect. But if the relationship demands he becomes someone he's not, he walks. Not in bitterness, but in alignment. Let's be clear, this doesn't make him cold or detached. It makes him disciplined. He can show deep affection, vulnerability, and loyalty. But he'll never give those things at the cost of self-betrayal. That's the Stoic code. Feel fully, but never kneel to emotion. And when love is good, truly good, he meets it with presence. Because he's not stuck in survival mode. He's not secretly afraid of being abandoned. He's built his own inner fortress, so the relationship becomes a choice, not a crutch. This kind of love isn't loud. It doesn't need grand gestures. It's built on respect, truth, and the quiet confidence of two whole people choosing each other, without pretending, without performing. The Stoic doesn't fear love. He fears losing himself in it, because he knows, if you disappear to be loved, it's not love you're receiving. It's approval dressed in chains. So he trains himself first. He becomes the man who can walk away without bitterness, who can stay without losing clarity, who loves with a full heart, but a firm spine. He doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't mold himself into whatever the other person needs. He stands in who he is, and from there, he invites love, not because he's incomplete, but because he's complete enough to share. And when it ends, if it ends, he grieves, but he doesn't collapse, because he never made someone else the foundation of his soul. That's Stoic love, deep, disciplined, free. So now ask yourself, is your love built on who you are, or on who you're afraid to be without?